Hello friends, my name is Shayla and today I'm here with my favorite reads of 2019. Now this particular list isn't going to include any of my true romance novels. Those are all in a separate video that I will leave linked for you. But these are some of my favorite reads of this year. These are the standouts. These are the first ones that I wanted to grab when I thought about my favorites. So let's go ahead and dive right in. We're just going to start at the top and work our way down. So the first up, we have Starsight by Brandon Sanderson. This is book 2 in his Skyward series, which is a sci-fi series in which we follow a girl named Spensa, who had a father who was branded as a traitor, but she has a desire to become a fighter pilot for her people and enter the DDF. And so the first book primarily follows Spensa as she tries out to get into flight school and what happens from there. In this second book, it takes a very different turn than I expected. Obviously, because of spoilers, I'm not going to be telling you what those are, but I do have a dedicated reading vlog to this, so if you have read Skyward, go ahead and check that out. I did try to keep it pretty spoiler-free, so you shouldn't get too spoiled for the book. If anything, it'll just entice you and intrigue you a little bit. Next up, we have A Curse So Dark and Lonely by Bridget Kemmerer. This is one of our Tell It Again book club picks for the month for this year. And April and I absolutely loved and adored this. This was 5 stars. And this Beauty and the Beast retelling was done in a way that was packaged uniquely enough that I really loved this. I think about this book often when it comes to Beauty and the Beast retellings. It's definitely high up on my list for originality and representation. It definitely has a unique spin on that Beauty and the Beast trope. And it's very well done. I highly like it, and I highly recommend this book as a whole. Book 2 comes out a week from today, and I'm dying to get my hands on it, and you guys will be hearing much more about that very soon. Next up, we have Permanent Record by Mary H.K. Choi. As you can see, I had a lot of thoughts as I read this one. I buddy read this one with Natalie over at Book of B. I will leave her linked down below, so you can definitely check her out, as well as April from April Sarah. Anybody that I mention in this video will be linked down below. But in this one, we primarily follow Pablo. And Pablo is a guy who's about 20 years old, so college age. He's working just kind of at like a convenience store kind of thing. And he ends up running into one of his favorite childhood stars at his place of work. And it's about them experiencing a relationship together. And really, this is a slice of life about Pablo and the struggles that he's feeling. He doesn't feel drawn towards college. He doesn't feel drawn towards a career. And he's in limbo, but trying to live on his own, acquiring a lot of debt, all sorts of things. And he's afraid to ask his family for help. And Pablo is such a relatable character that I think about this book a lot. I think this book is powerful and important. And I think a lot more people should be reading it. And it's definitely got a lot of nice diversity in it. Both of these characters are biracial in different ways. I don't remember the specifics, so I'm not going to mention them. But I know that these two characters will speak to you in different ways. And the ending to this one is exactly what I wanted it to be, but I know not everyone is happy with this ending. And so I'm going to put that out there, and that's all I'm going to say about it. But I think about Permanent Record a whole lot. And I know that Mel from over at Mel to the Annie, she really loves this book as well. So definitely, if you're not going to check it out on my recommendation, check it out on hers. Next up, we have, this one is a romance, and it did sneak into this list because I couldn't put it in the other video. It had to be in this one. And that is Well Met by Jen DeLuca. In this, we follow Emily and Simon. Emily and Simon come together because of a Renaissance fair. Emily, her life is kind of falling apart. Her fiance broke up with her. Her sister got in a car accident, so she's currently living with her sister, helping take care of her and her teenage niece. And her teenage niece wants to participate in the Renaissance fair, but they need an adult to participate as well, so Emily signs up. She comes across Simon, who is the English teacher at the junior high, and their first banter is a disagreement over Shakespeare. This speaks to my heart on so many levels. It's a Ren Fair romance, and I love it. We're getting more in this series. I can't wait. I'm so excited. Definitely check out Well Met if you haven't, because it is so good. It is so fun. It is compulsorily readable. Definitely good. The next one actually surprised me that it made the list, but it was so good and I can't stop thinking about it since I read it. And that is The Guinevere Deception by Kiersten White. Now, Kiersten White is an author that I have a love-hate relationship with most days, but in this one I absolutely loved her. I loved the take that she took on Arthurian legend. So obviously we primarily are following Guinevere, and Guinevere is not who Guinevere says she is. And she is sent by Merlin to Camelot to wed Arthur to protect him. And the way everything is going down in this, book 2 is going to be fantastic. There is some LGBT plus representation in here. So I definitely recommend checking out the series if you're looking for good romantic diversity, I guess you could say. And it's fantastic. I really enjoyed it. It was a lot shorter than I wanted it to be, but she definitely said what she needed to say in it. And I'm very much looking forward to book 2. Next up was a read very early on in the year, and that is The Winter of the Witch by Katherine Arden. This is the conclusion to the Winter Night trilogy. And this book, I've been thinking about it all year. I'm due to reread the series again, but man, did I love this series. And I still do. This book broke me on so many levels. This is essentially a historical Russian-inspired fantasy in which we follow a woman named Vasilisa, who we meet as a teenager in the first book, but she's definitely a woman by the time what's going on in this book is going on. And I absolutely love and adore the growth, and this is very much a talk on politics and religion, and it's just full of everything I love in a fantasy. And we definitely have a strong female at the forefront of this story. There's a little bit of romance in there for the people who like a little bit, and it's fantastic. I highly recommend the Winter Night trilogy if you have not read it yet. Again, one of my favorites of all time. This next book also surprised me that I put it on this list, but I can't stop thinking about it, and I blame Melanie completely for this, and that is The Wicked King by Holly Black. I did read Queen of Nothing as well this year, but I liked The Wicked King a little bit better, so The Wicked King is what's making the list. But you can put Queen of Nothing here too. So this is book 2 of the Folk of the Air trilogy, the first book being The Cruel Prince. If you've been on BookTube at all, you've heard about this series, and this is a book series about a young woman named Jude, who is a human in the Fae realm, and it's about her wanting to serve the Fae Kingdom and interact with the Fae and basically become Fae for all intents and purposes. Because she was raised in the Fae realm after her mortal parents were killed. And this kingdom has a prince named Cardan. And Cardan and Jude do not hit it off well for a myriad of reasons. And in The Wicked King, we get a lot of development between Jude and Cardan, as well as fleshing out some of the politics within the kingdom. And it's fantastic. It's so well done. Highly recommend the series. I plan on doing a reread of the series soon so that I can give you more detailed thoughts and reviews on each piece of the series. So that will be coming your way in the next couple months. So subscribe and click the bell so you know when that's posted. Next up on this list is Wicked Fox by Kat Cho. This definitely read like watching an anime. In this, we are primarily following Korean folklore, in which we're following a gumiho, which is like a fox spirit inside this woman. And she is taught all her life to take the souls of men to feed her gumiho. And it's really interesting. This is about her finding a boy at her high school and interacting with him. There's an instance where she is the gumiho and she saves him. And it just creates this really interesting dynamic between them. It feels like a K-drama as well as an anime all at the same time. This speaks to my nerdy soul on many levels. I really enjoyed it. I know not everyone has. A lot of people find fault with it. But man, it was a fun ride. I don't care what anybody says. It was fun. It was entertaining. It was exactly what I expected when I picked up this book. And that made it a 5-star read for me. I thoroughly recommend this book if you are a fan of K-dramas or anime and you go in knowing that it's going to be dramatic. Next up was, again, slightly surprising to me when I wanted to put it on this list, but at the same time it's not because I can't stop thinking about it. And that is House of Salt and Sorrows by Aaron A. Craig. I can't wait to read more from Aaron A. Craig eventually, but this is a 12 Dancing Princesses retelling, and it definitely has that gothic vibe to it. So you've got this beautiful gothic setting and then this traditional fairy tale retelling woven within it. And it's beautiful. It's touching. I thoroughly enjoyed this. I know this is another one I know not everyone has enjoyed this, but I can't get enough. I'm ready to reread this book. I'm probably going to reread it sometime in 2020, maybe for Tell It Again. We will see. April loved this as well. So maybe we'll do it for like September or October when it gets that fall time when the atmosphere would be right for a gothic read. So I don't know. We'll see. But I definitely recommend checking this out. But if you're expecting it to push the envelope on the retelling side, it's not going to. This is a very traditional retelling in a beautiful setting. And so I'm going to tell you that right up front, but I really love what Craig did with this. And if she continues to write more retellings, believe me, I will be consuming them and reading them. And then last, but certainly not least on this list, was another one that was, I should not be surprised it made this list, but I am a little bit, again, and that is The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. This book is an absolute masterpiece. It is beautifully written, beautifully crafted, beautifully woven together. In this, we follow a young man who finds a book that isn't sorted at all in the library, but as he begins to read the book, he finds himself within the book and his life story within the book. And this is about the repercussions of trying to figure out the book and some other things that are going on as well. I don't want to spoil anything for you guys, but this book is fantastic. I highly recommend checking it out. I think I forgot to include this in my December wrap-up, but it's really good. I really loved it. I did buddy read this as well as several of the others in this stack with Lindsay over at Lindsay Chet. She's been my buddy read partner in 2019. But yeah, this was one of my favorite reads of 2019. I read it here in December. It's absolutely stunning. I think the more blind you go into this book, the better off you'll be. But just know that it's not going to be exactly like The Night Circus, but you will definitely get that atmosphere and that feel of The Night Circus as you read it. So definitely check this one out. It's not going to be a waste of time if you do. So friends, those are some of my favorite reads of 2019. Again, I have a list dedicated to romance, and I will also have a list dedicated to manga that I will be filming next. So I'm not sure what order these are going to be uploaded. If that's up, I will leave it linked, obviously. But yes, thank you guys so much for watching. As you guys know, a like and a comment always makes my day, and this is YouTube, so you guys know what to do. Thanks for watching. I'll see you later. Bye.